Hi, my name is Adrian Werstiak, and I am doing my article presentation on an article from the Harvard Business Review called Why Most Product Launches Fail. Topic is new product failure, so let's get into it. First, we're going to have a brief topic overview. We'll do an article discussion, talk some textbook concepts, do some questions asked, and then finally conclude on everything we've talked about here. So to start it off with the brief topic overview, most new product launches will not succeed. 75% of new products fail to make $7.5 million in the first year. Less than 3% of new products exceed first-year sales of $50 million. The article says that this is primarily due to fickle consumer shopping habits. Most people only have about 150 products that they repeatedly buy, and that makes up about 85% of household needs. So people are less likely to move away from those products that they consistently purchase. And then as far as the $50 million threshold goes, that seems to be the benchmark as to what's considered a highly successful product. And so only 3% of new products are considered highly successful. Sustaining success is difficult even with an initial successful launch. You might introduce a new product to market and it might be a real hit at first, but consumers again are fickle in their consumer spending habits, and so what might be hot one day might not be the next as people move on. And then many variables can cause new products to fail, and that's so why do new products fail? First reason is that company cannot meet demand. The infrastructure to match supply with demand is inadequate. In attempting to meet supply, the product could suffer quality control issues. There's a risk losing appeal to customers if the product is unavailable, and there's a risk that competitors coming in to fill the demand. And so the main example the article talks about is a product called Mosquito Magnet. So during the West Nile virus scare in the 2000s, a mosquito killing product came out called Mosquito Magnet. It was a top seller. People really wanted something to get rid of mosquitoes in their area to prevent themselves from getting sick. And as a result of that, the company was doing really well. In order to meet demand, the company decided to outsource their manufacturing to China because they were having trouble processing lower volumes domestically. And in doing that, they had quality issues in their product that the consumers noticed. As soon as that started happening, the consumers moved away from the product and the product started to decline in sales. And so this company went from a $70 million a year company to eventually being sold for only $6 million to. Second observation in the article is products do not meet consumer expectations. And so new product launches can develop a consumer expectation. If the product falls short of the expectation, then you risk pushing away customers. Products need to be ready before they hit the market. The main example they talked about in the article was Microsoft Windows Vista, and then a second more recent example that I thought of was Cyberpunk 2077. So with Windows Vista, there was a lot of hype around a new operating system that was coming into the market that was replacing the old operating system. Existing users were excited for it. There was really, really high expectations. And then ultimately what happened was when the product launched, it failed to meet those really high expectations, and consumers rebelled, and they let Microsoft know that, hey, this product stinks. We don't want to use it. We need something better. So the product had user interface issues, compatibility issues with existing software. More recently, hyped up a video game that came out a few months ago is Cyberpunk 2077. This game has been on the radar of gamers for years. There's been a lot of hype around it. The game has been delayed many times, and finally it was released to really high expectations of this cool open world video game concept. And when the game was released, it was super buggy and it was really unplayable and not a lot of fun. And so it got a lot of really bad press. And as a result of that, they've been scrambling to try to recover from that poor early launch. Misinterpreted market research. So you want to make sure you test the product to make sure its differences will sway buyers. You want to make sure that you understand your buyers and understand, will my product meet my buyer's needs? And you want to make sure the benefits of the product are clearly defined and communicated. So an example they talked about in the case is Coca-Cola C2. So Coca-Cola C2 was a new product that was created by Coca-Cola in an effort to create a drink that caters to males between the ages of 20 and 40 years old. And the thought process was males liked the taste profile of original Coca-Cola, but they wanted a low-calorie drink, and so the C2 product was intended to be a Coca-Cola classic flavor profile that was reduced calories but not no calories. And what Coca-Cola failed to recognize was that the target market really wanted a soda that was 0 calories but still had a taste profile of Coca-Cola Classic. And so the release of Coca-Cola C2 was a complete failure. It was not a hit at all. It was an expensive failure for Coca-Cola. They eventually learned from that failure and released Coke Zero. Next point is learning curve. So if your product or if your consumers can't understand how to use the product, it won't work. And you may need to educate the consumer on a new product. So before going to market, you want to make sure you have a plan in place that appropriately demonstrates how your product works and what its intended functionality is. And the example in our article was Febreze Scent Stories, where Febreze released this product that looked kind of like a CD player. They marketed it with famous musicians, and what it really was just a scent product that, released a scent every 30 minutes. People were confused to think that it was both music and scents at the same time. Finally, the article talks about innovative products with no markets. So you might have a really, really innovative product, but if there is no target market or market that's willing to buy it, you're going to have a failed product. And the example they talk about is Segway. So the Segway creator thought he had this game-changing transportation vehicle on his hands that was going to change the way people commute and live their daily lives. And what wound up happening was Segway was a complete failure. People didn't adopt it in their day-to-day lives, and it really became a niche product for two industries. One is mall cops, and the other is tour companies in cities. So can you fix the problem? So for the first two, demand and consumer expectations, it's important to push back launch dates until supply issues are resolved or quality of the product is improved. From a learning curve perspective, you want to make sure you're engaging the holistic marketing approach to determine what channels are needed to make sure the consumer is up to speed on product functionality and usefulness. And then for no market or misinterpreted market demand, this is hard to correct and may require shifts in product development. If there is no market or the market needs were misinterpreted, the product may not be able to recover. Textbook concepts. So additional drawbacks that new products face, as highlighted in our textbook, is one, fragmented markets. So companies must aim their new products at smaller market segments than before, which means just lower sales and profits for each product, which is problematic. You've got social, economic, and government challenges that new products face. You got to satisfy consumer safety. I've got a newborn at home, and the biggest thing in buying products for her is is this product safe for her, and does it meet the standards of whatever authoritative bodies are out there? Capital shortages. So you need money to be able to launch a new product to market, and so you're not always able to get that money or convince other investors to give you money to help bring a new product to launch. Poor launch timing. New products are sometimes launched too late. You miss the boat, and you're not able to recover market share as a result of that. Shorter product life cycles. Our textbook talks about Sony, where rivals are quick to copy success. So Sony puts out a product, and 6 months later, their competitors come out with equivalent products that challenge the market share of the initial product launched. And then lack of organizational support. Really, that's just the new product may not mesh with the corporate culture or receive the financial or other support it needs. So 3 questions that I asked as a part of this process in reading this article is 1, why bother creating a new product when the odds are stacked against you? 2, is there a way to guarantee success of a new product? And 3, are there companies in recent history that defy the odds of new product failure, where they release one hit after another? For the first question, I thought I'd take a stab at answering it for you guys. So I think, why bother creating a new product when the odds are stacked against you? For major corporations, I think that stockholders and owners require growth, and one of the only ways to grow is to continually innovate product offerings. Without the risk, there is no reward. Profit-seeking companies are always going to be looking to the future to improve profitability. The companies that do not release new products will probably not have a future. I think for new companies, the drive to build or create something worthwhile causes entrepreneurs to look past the odds. There's a willingness to defy naysayers or the status quo. For questions 2 and 3, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it in the comments. And then finally, I just thought it'd be just curious what types of new product failures existed, through time. And so one of the products I found was one of the first talking dolls made by Thomas Edison. This product lasted about a month before it was pulled. Basically, consumers complained that it was too fragile, and some said that the voice grew too faint only after about an hour of use, so you didn't actually hear the doll talking. And then the final complaint that I thought was kind of funny is that the doll didn't exactly sound like a sweet companion, and just judging by the picture, I'm not seeing a sweet companion at all. So this was a new product failure in the early 1900s. So overall conclusion, 1, you got to expect failure with new products. The odds across the board are stacked against you. 2, you got to learn from failures to improve on future product launches. And then 3, mitigate the risk of new product failure through research and information gathering. Well, that's it for me, guys. I look forward to reading your comments and discussion. Thanks a lot.